My protection and yours. What's your name, officer? Please identify yourself.
McLeod from the Clewiston Police Department.
And you, sir?
Officer Garza, Clewiston Police Department.
And what am I being pulled over for?
Well, 2 reasons. 1, you made a turn back there without a turn signal. 2, we had a call about you trying to sell something at a store, and at 2 different stores at that, not just one. So a suspicious activity call. And we had to make out with you to see who you are and what you're doing.
Got you. Got you.
So can I have your license, please?
So what crime is that?
Well, there wasn't a crime committed because we don't know if the items were stolen or not.
Do you have suspicion that I committed a crime? Reasonable, articulable suspicion, either one of you, that I committed a crime, was about to commit a crime,
somebody
was in the process of committing a crime.
Tim, are there any stipulations?
Absolutely not. Except that you abide by the law.
I am abiding by the law.
No, you're not. You're asking me for my ID illegally.
He conducted a traffic stop. That's
not.
The video opens with a reminder about the importance of knowing your rights and actually using them when dealing with public officials. The narrator highlights how countless interactions caught on camera reveal that some officers still attempt to stretch, twist, or ignore the law when they believe citizens won't question them. As the clip begins, the driver calmly states that he is recording the entire situation for everyone's safety, immediately showing that transparency benefits both sides. When the officer identifies himself, the driver politely asks for clarification about the reason for the stop. Right from the start, the tone is firm but respectful, establishing that citizens can stand their ground without escalating the situation unnecessarily.
That works.
That is how
No crime has been committed. There's no reasonable, articulable suspicion. Excuse me.
When you commit a traffic
suspicion?
infraction,
There's no reasonable, articulable suspicion that a crime has been committed. That a crime has been committed.
It was going to be committed. How do we know the stuff you have is not stolen? We got no way to prove it. No
It's
way.
not how that works.
It's not. No way I can prove it.
Please get your supervisor here,
Sure.
because that's not how this
technically,
works.
sure.
Well, then she should know better. She should know better, and so should you, Mr. Garza.
We are allowed to step out with people who reasonably believe.
Yeah, dumbass people who don't know the law.
That doesn't have to be dumb or smart.
If I have
I'm telling
not
you.
been suspected of committing a crime with reasonable, articulable suspicion,
2 people have called saying you in this vehicle are trying to sell them items that they don't know are stolen. We don't know are stolen.
then there's no crime.
Can you tell me that it's not stolen?
I already told you that.
I didn't ask. So how have you told me?
Because you...
The officer explains that the stop is happening for 2 reasons: allegedly failing to signal during a turn, and a call claiming the driver was trying to sell items at multiple stores. The driver listens carefully but quickly questions the legitimacy of these reasons, especially the suspicious activity claim. He asks for clear articulation of what crime he supposedly committed or attempted to commit. This is where the officer's uncertainty becomes obvious, as he cannot point to any unlawful behavior. The driver uses precise language, reasonable articulable suspicion, showing he's familiar with constitutional standards that govern investigative stops. His calm insistence puts the officers on the defensive.
You said that you got a phone call,
items.
and I asked you if that was illegal, and you said no.
Called over the radio that's you.
Here. There's my paperwork right there. Nothing illegal.
Was that so hard?
No. But you can't just get people's ID for nothing, Mr. Garza.
It's not for nothing.
It is. It is.
Look,
There's policy and procedure,
Hold
and
on.
there's
There
constitutional law
If somebody's
that you
standing
swore
here-
an oath to, my friend.
Hold on. If somebody's standing here and they're just standing here with no kids and they're a grown person just sitting there, that's a suspicious person.
You know, I just got a call about some officers that we had to watch out for here that were breaking the law and the people's constitutional rights.
I can assure you that's not us.
You
But-
sure it's not you?
Not me. But look,
I have suspicion to believe it's
hold
you.
on. You gonna let me finish what I'm saying so you have an understanding?
How you doing, boss?
There's a supervisor right there if you want
How
to
you
speak.
doing, supervisor? We're just...
As the conversation continues, the officer insists that asking for ID is part of routine procedure, but the driver immediately pushes back, reminding him that constitutional law is not based on routine, it is based on specific and lawful justification. The driver reminds the officers that policy cannot override rights, no matter how often they repeat certain procedures. He points out that without a suspected crime, the request for ID becomes an unlawful demand rather than a lawful inquiry. The tension rises as the officer tries to justify the stop through vague statements about suspicious calls, which the driver correctly identifies as insufficient. His tone stays confident, proving that knowledge is the strongest tool in these moments.
Get an understanding of constitutional law here. You know, no big deal. He said he pulled me over because he got a phone call that, you know, we were selling stuff. I asked him if that's illegal. He said, no, that's not illegal, right? That's where we were at in the conversation. He asked for my ID. So I asked him again, what did we do that was illegal? For me to give you my ID. Did we have any reasonable articulable suspicion that a crime has been committed? He said no. We got a phone call. 2 people said that items were trying to be sold. That's not a crime. Not here, not in Texas, not in, anywhere. It's not a crime.
My understanding is you were pulled over for a traffic offense.
That's not what I was pulled over for. Mr. Garza pulled me over. This woman pulled through here after. There was no illegal turn. That right there is a turnaround. You don't have to put your blinker on at that turnaround right there.
Tomato.
So if you have
The driver explains that being labeled suspicious does not meet the constitutional threshold for detainment or ID requirements. He challenges the officer's reasoning, stressing that speculation is not grounds for a stop. The officers attempt to flip the logic, suggesting that because the items could be stolen, they need to check his identity. But the driver responds perfectly. A crime cannot be presumed without evidence, and officers cannot treat everyone as guilty until proven innocent. His refusal is not combative but educational, as he repeatedly clarifies how the law works while exposing the officer's lack of understanding. This part of the interaction shows how quickly some officers rely on assumptions instead of legal standards.
identified yourself, correct?
I told him who I was right there.
All right.
It's not stolen stuff. I'm not trying to give him a hard time, but you guys can't just pull people over and say, oh, we got a phone call. Somebody said you were selling stuff. Let me see your ID. That's not how this works. I respect the law. You guys got to respect it too. You swore an oath to it.
Okay. All right. Hold on for there. Okay. Look, my name is Sergeant Nieves, badge number 0464. All right.
You know your shit.
Closton Police Department. Yes. Look, we got a call at the Ace Hardware parking lot. Person just wanted to remain anonymous, saying that, hey, somebody was trying to sell a stereo in the parking lot, and that's it. They didn't request contact, nothing along those lines. All right. Look, he conducted a traffic stop. He was just trying to identify you guys. Everything's good. That's all we're trying to do.
Key word, try to identify.
That's all. Just try.
But that's not how that works.
Look, we're here, attempting to identify. That's all we're trying to do, all right?
Your name again?
Sergeant Tito Nieves. All righty, sir.
Be safe. Thank
Good
you.
one, okay?
And we can...
When the driver requests a supervisor, the officer agrees, but his body language shows frustration. Meanwhile, the driver continues explaining that asking for ID during a consensual encounter is fine, but forcing identification without a lawful detention is a violation. He even uses the officer's own statements against him, pointing out inconsistencies in their explanation for the stop. The officers insist they have the right to check on people, but they fail to articulate how that right applies without reasonable suspicion. The driver reminds them that they swore an oath to uphold constitutional law, not personal assumptions or departmental habits. His approach becomes a lesson they clearly didn't expect.
Out here, it's not illegal.
It's not illegal.
Especially if I got my sales tax license, correct?
If you are a business conducting business within the city, you need a tax business receipt.
Got all that.
We don't have
Alrighty.
that knowledge.
Thank you. But you can't receive that knowledge illegally.
But we can
okay?
ask you. just
Okay,
like if
and
you
I can
provide it.
and I can refuse.
Yes, you can, but we still need to figure out what you're doing somewhere. So until we figure
You
that
could
out,
try to figure it out.
until we figure that out, you are deemed a suspicious person. You understand?
Yeah, but being a suspicious person is not somebody that has been deemed reasonable, articulable suspicion of committing a crime, about to commit a crime, in the process of committing a crime, would give you the only viable and reason to ask for my ID. Period. There's no exceptions at all.
So the traffic stop means nothing.
That wasn't a traffic stop.
So you made.
You specifically told me, and you are being recorded in my
That's
truck
fine.
too.
You
You
didn't-
specifically
you did
told
not
me when I
indicate-
asked you why I was being pulled over. You
Okay,
specifically
so when
stated
you turn-
that you got a phone call
Hold on.
about suspicious.
When the supervisor arrives, the tone of the encounter shifts. The driver respectfully explains everything from the beginning, emphasizing that selling items is not a crime and that no illegal activity occurred. The supervisor listens but tries to anchor the justification of the stop on the traffic violation instead. Yet the driver corrects that too, explaining exactly where he made his turn and why a signal wasn't required. His confidence reveals how often police rely on people not knowing their own local traffic laws. The supervisor attempts to smooth things over, but the driver stands firm, clarifying that incorrect traffic assumptions don't create lawful grounds for ID requests.